Joining us now is Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of Southern Indiana, Dr. Nicholas LaRoe. Dr. LaRoe, thank you for your time tonight.
Sure, absolutely.
And obviously, we lost a giant in this nation as a whole last night in Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. When you got the news, what went through your mind?
I was sad, and then I was a little bit worried. As you might know, right, there's some upheaval in the nation right now. She was a very revered figure for Democrats, and the Supreme Court has become very contentious, so I'm a little bit worried about what the next 44 days or so are going to hold kind of politically.
And Dr. LaRoe, how big of an impact will this have on the legal community as a whole?
Well, it should be interesting. So she was probably the furthest left justice on the Supreme Court. I would expect, a very conservative nomination from President Trump, which would move the center of the court further right. So this will be a pretty momentous appointment if the president and the Senate Republicans can get it through before the election.
And let's talk about that. Obviously, Supreme Court justices are appointed by the president, but we are in an election year. So the question is whether that decision should be made before or after the new presidential term begins. What does precedent show us, though, in this instance?
Well, it depends on what year you're talking about. So up until 2016, it was pretty much if the president nominated somebody and they're decently qualified and they had no scandals, they would be approved. In 2016, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell invoked kind of this argument that this is too close to the election. The American people should decide this as an election issue. But it seems that now that argument is being modified to say we were elected to do this job, and so we're going to keep on doing it. It doesn't matter if there's an election coming up. So it used to not matter, then it mattered, and now I don't think it matters again.
Interesting. Well, with the death of Justice Ginsburg, questions now over the future direction of where the Supreme Court will go. But where does it go from here, essentially? Just a couple of weeks out from the election, Dr. LaRoe.
So in terms of where it goes, I don't know. They start their term in the first Monday in October, so that's obviously coming up quickly. So I can't imagine that there would be a new justice on the court by the beginning of the term. They'll operate with 8. At least for a while, which we did for a while in 2016. And so you might see them defer some cases that would be, tie cases or wait on some cases, or you might see a lot of tie votes, which would just basically leave in place what was decided in the court below.
And what does the process look like to bring up another Supreme Court justice? Obviously, Trump needs to nominate somebody, but what are kind of the mechanics, some of the background there?
Sure. So the president picks somebody, and these days they have a list of names, years in advance. He probably already knows who he wants, or, a couple. Then the candidate is vetted very thoroughly. They are interviewed, and other people give testimony in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and then that committee gives a recommendation, and then the full Senate votes.
All righty. Well, Dr. LaRoe, thank you so much for your time this evening. We really appreciate it.